Hey guys, Marcus Melnick here with Firearm Mentor. Hope you're enjoying my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These little things are free to you and really help the channel. I appreciate your support. Enjoy. Thank you.
The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. Welcome to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick with Stress 2 Logic and Firearm Mentor, your host. And in this segment of the episode, we've got two representatives from Hunger Resource Network. We've got Carrie Smith and Julie Usum. Welcome to the show. The Hunger Resource Network is an organization that provides protein specifically, but all sorts of food to local food pantries. And you guys don't know this, who are on the call, and the listeners don't know this, but there was a time in my life not too long ago where I was homeless and I relied on food pantries. So I don't usually advertise that, but it was a rough time in my life, but I greatly appreciate everything that you both do and the organization does. So why don't you start with, what are your origin stories? Where did you come from? How did you get to where you are today? Carrie, would you like to go first?
Sure. Thank you, Marcus, and thanks for the opportunity. So I grew up in a middle-class family in Louisiana, New Orleans.
Oh.
That's where I'm from. Family time was a priority. My family, we took annual vacations. We spent a lot of time together. And that's pretty much what helped shape my value around community and connections. I earned my bachelor's degree in elementary education, but after realizing that teaching in a classroom wasn't my true calling, I pivoted to corporate America. My first role was operation manager in a staffing industry, where I spent over a decade helping people find jobs and building their career. So despite my success in staffing, I always felt a strong pull toward nonprofit work. My belief is that if you can just help one person, you can change the trajectory of an entire family. That belief drives my passion for connecting people to resources they need to build the life they dream of. So whether that is employment, financial stability, or meaningful relationships, my journey has always been to bridge the gap between people and opportunities. And I'm excited to continue making an impact every day. So with being development director at Hunger Resource Network, that's pretty much my passion.
Julie?
I am very lucky and thankful to have grown up in a privileged situation, and food insecurity was not on my family's radar, although my parents were very charitable and always gave to causes fighting poverty, which I assume also included food insecurity. But I personally became acquainted with HRN through networking at the Northbrook Chamber in 2009, and then became very involved in 2022, joining the board in 2023. One of the reasons I'm so passionate and I love working with HRN is that I get to see the impact of my volunteer work and donations in real time, really actually helping people in the form of our twice a year poultry to pantry stays, where we literally give tons of frozen chicken to organizations who then distribute it to our food insecure neighbors across Illinois. And I just want to also say how incredibly lucky we are to have the multi-talented Carrie Smith leading our organization. She's amazing.
She is amazing, and I met both of you through networking. So I always appreciated that heroes don't always wear capes.
Yes.
Or a badge, or whatever, a traffic control vest. You guys are really I consider you to be local heroes, because you are truly, the organization and you as individuals are truly helping other people that need it. Julie, where did you grow up? I'm being nosy.
I grew up in Highland Park.
Okay.
So now you get it. I went to Highland Park High School, and then I went to Lake Forest College.
Can you guys tell us, or tell our listeners, about Hunger Resource Network and A to Z? What do you guys do? How big's the organization? And what organizations do you assist? Do you help?
Okay, I will take that question. Since our founding in 2009, Hunger Resource Network, we have provided over 4.6 million pounds of food at no cost to food pantries and community organizations. We're a primarily volunteer-run nonprofit with just one full-time employee, which is me, and that's ensuring donation go directly to feeding those in need. So thanks to our model, just a $25 donation provides about 100 servings of protein, which makes a real impact in the fight against food insecurity. We get support from grants, sponsors, corporate sponsors, and individual donors. And we continue working to make protein accessible to all.
Being very health conscious, I know how important it is. You can't really go very long without it because lack of it will break down muscles, etc. You also help seniors.
We do.
So talk about that.
We are very, very, very proud of some of the successes of HRN. When it comes to seniors, we support hundreds of seniors on fixed income by connecting them with local food pantries. We have a partnership with a senior community in the Norfolk area where we provide monthly transportation to ensure that they have access to nutritious food, because sometimes seniors have to make a decision between paying a bill or buying food. So we're helping them out by bringing them to the food pantries.
I didn't know you did the transportation also. That's unbelievably fantastic. I want my listeners to know that this is my dream, teaching people about safety. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for my listeners, I couldn't live my dream. So on behalf of my family and myself, I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to live my dream. And I also want to continue to live my dream, and I'm excited to continue to spread the word of safety. Recently, I began a new service as a conference keynote speaker. So if anyone would like for me to speak at future events, or if anyone knows of an introduction or would like to discuss how we can work with one another, I'd love to do just that. The keynote speaking website is www.stress2logic.com. That is STRESS, 2LOGIC.com. If you're aware of any conference speaking engagements where you'd like to have me speak, I'd love an introduction. You can always share my electronic business card, which is Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. Now, back to the show. I noticed on the website that it says rescued tens of thousands of pounds of produce, day-old bakery goods. Can you just tell everyone that this food is not bad food? Just because it's a day-old bakery doesn't mean it's bad. Or just because, it may be really ripe, you got to eat it right away. But can you go into that and how food is really wasted at restaurants and grocery stores?
Let me talk about the rescue part, and then I'll let Julie chime in about the food being wasted. When it comes to the food rescue, what we do is we operate the logistics of it now. It used to be a program that we had a couple of years ago where we had partnerships with some of the local restaurants and also farmers market, whereas you just said, Marcus, the food is not bad. Just because they didn't purchase it at the end of the day, it's still good. And so now what we do is there's some food pantries that we take and we kind of work the logistics of it, telling them which farmers market that they can go to get the food so that they can give to their recipients that same day. So that's our part with the rescuing of the food. It's just the logistical parts of it. Before, we used to have tons of volunteers that used to do it on a weekly basis. And then we found the efficient way to do it is just work out the logistics with the food pantry, giving them the resources in terms of they can go to this farmers market or that farmers market to pick it up that same day. So that's the part that we do now, the logistical part of the rescuing of it.
Okay, so people pick up their own food that might be not sellable, or that the farmers market has a policy on so many days, and then we can't sell it and we can donate it. Did I understand that right?
Yeah, the food pantries does. The agencies, they pick it up, then they bring it back to their pantries, and then their recipients pick it up from them. But so it's kind of the pantries pick it up themselves. Yes.
I see. Okay, cool. And Julie, can you talk about how much food is actually wasted in the world, or in our world?
Yes. Yeah, so, I actually focused on our own country because those facts are astonishing enough. While the world wastes about 2.5 billion tons of food every year, the United States discards more food than any other country, nearly 60 million tons, 120 billion pounds every year, which is estimated to be almost 40% of the entire U.S. food supply and is equal to 325 pounds of waste per person. That's like every person in America throwing 975 average-sized apples right into the garbage, or rather right into landfills, as most discarded food ends up there. Food is the single largest component taking up space inside U.S. landfills, which I found surprising, making up 22% of municipal solid waste. The amount of food wasted in America has an approximate value of nearly $218 billion, the equivalent of 130 billion meals. So that's pretty significant, shocking, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't realize it was that much. I mean, I always grew up, I never wasted any food. I was the Clean Plate Club president.
Good for you.
And before you guys met me, I was 320 pounds. So
wow.
I'm not only am I not wasting food, I'm not buying as much either now. That's just kind of my little sense of humor.
Well, but you know what? You actually make a good point. I know that my own consciousness has been raised since working with HRN. I'm much more aware of not overbuying and not wasting. And I think that's another good outcome of being affiliated with the organization.
Right. I totally agree. And hopefully this radio show will enlighten some other people. And the three of us are really, I would call us in the north or northwest suburbs. Is there really a hunger problem in the Chicago area, in these more affluent areas like Northbrook, Buffalo Grove, Libertyville, those areas?
I would say yes. Hunger is a real issue, even in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Many people assume food insecurity only affects urban areas, but that's not the case. In Northbrook alone, over 1,000 people rely on link cards to afford groceries, and across Chicago, 1 in 6 people face food insecurity. Marcus, hunger doesn't always look like what people expect. It affects working families, seniors on fixed incomes, and individuals facing unexpected hardship. It could be from a divorce. It could be from someone losing their job. It can affect. That's why Hunger Research Network works to bridge the gap, ensuring that individuals get protein to those who need it most.
I want to just clarify one thing that you said for the listeners. You said that Northbrook alone has 1,000 people on link cards. Link cards are basically food, they're credit cards now, but they used to be food stamps. That's what we're talking about. Link card, it's now electronic. You have certain things and I was on one, that's how I know this. When you go to the grocery store, they allow you to buy certain things: milk, eggs, juice, but they don't allow you to buy alcohol or tobacco on it. So with that said, there's fraud that goes with it. I was involved in a police department where they raided a local it was kind of a liquor store, grocery store, where they were taking the link cards but documenting something else, and people were buying alcohol and tobacco and all sorts of stuff they shouldn't have, and it got straightened out, which is good. So every year, I know there's a golf outing, and I'd love to have you back on the program ahead of the golf outing to talk about that as well. But on May 7th at Chevy Chase Country Club, there's a 2025 Hunger Hero Luncheon, which is a fundraiser. Can either of you talk about it, how someone can attend, talk about the keynote speaker? Go ahead, take it away.
This is actually our first Hunger Hero Luncheon, which is very exciting for us. The past 2 years, we hadn't emphasized that, but we are just extremely lucky to have volunteers and donors who have proven to go the extra mile, and they deserve to be recognized as Hunger Heroes. This year, we are honoring Viso Graphics, which is a printing and mailing company that is owned by the Dalkey family, who reside here in Northbrook. They're very charitable and very active in the community, and they have really stepped up to the plate to support Hunger Resource Network. So they're going to be presented with the Hunger Hero Award. And our other Hunger Hero is our keynote speaker, Brent Novoselsky, who is a former Chicago Bear and Minnesota Vikings player, who is also a philanthropist in his own right and participates in many organizations. And he, after learning about Hunger Resource Network, became an instant supporter and Hunger Hero. So he has very interesting, funny stories to tell about his own career, but also his personal awakening to how important it is to give back, and how he had begun doing that and continues to do that now, even in his retirement from football. So it should be an inspirational story to hear. The food will be delicious. There will be fantastic networking opportunities and raffle prizes, and it's really a great high energy event that will leave people feeling great. And so it's on May 7th at Chevy Chase Country Club from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And if people want more information, it's right on our website, which is hungerresourcenetwork.org.
Awesome. And I've met Brent a number of times, and his brother Seth, and it was really interesting. You'd think that a professional ball player would have an attitude. This guy is so approachable and nice and willing to talk to anyone, big smile on his face, just truly the epitome of what a professional athlete should be. And I believe he works, I want to say he does something in finance now.
Yes, he is. He's a financial advisor with Alara Group, but he's on the board for the Retired Football Players Association. He does a lot with B'nai B'rith, and he is helping to create an Israeli flag football team to participate in the next Olympics. Cool. So he's doing all kinds of interesting stuff. And I agree with you. He is what I call a really menschy guy. Yes. He's a sweetheart. He's fun. He listens. He's just one in a million.
He's a regular guy, and he's had a lot of fame. I haven't seen him in a long time. I ran into him at a gyro place, and he was telling me about he made some touchdown on Christmas Day when he was with the Vikings. That was like the highlight of all the stuff that he did. But you should just see him beam from ear to ear when he talks about that. It's amazing. He really loves it. So this is your area of expertise. I'm not, although I will be at the luncheon and I love the organization, I'm not that deep into it. What should I have asked you that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with the public?
So Marcus, I think people would find it astonishing to realize that most middle-class families are one lost paycheck away from experiencing food insecurity. And I think that really puts it in perspective that it is so close to each and every one of us. I mean, it could be our next door neighbor. And that's something I want people to really be aware of. The other thing is, I think that Hunger Resource Network is unique among its other organizations that deal with hunger and food insecurity, because we really focus on the protein and we fill a gap that way. So most food pantries do very well in terms of having dry beans and canned fish and other sources of protein. But our founder, Jerry Abka, had learned from his own experiences that there was a real lack of fresh protein. And that's how the whole Hunger Resource Network got started, was to emphasize that and to provide this fresh protein to food insecure people. So we fill that gap. And an interesting statistic is that almost 40% of Americans don't get enough protein in their diets. And that lack of protein, especially for children, contributes to malnutrition. And then other negative effects from that include anemia, weight gain or loss, skin and hair changes, bone fractures, muscle loss, weakened immune systems, stunted growth, edema, mental health challenges, and more. So it's really a pretty wide-reaching problem. And if I could just say one more thing, I want people to realize that Hunger Resource does rely on proceeds from our fundraising events to buy the chicken for our next Poultry to Pantries Day. So when people come to the luncheon or the golf outing, they're going to have a great time, but they're actually literally helping us purchase the chicken to distribute at those events.
You know, it's interesting you said that, how people are one paycheck away. And I have a friend of mine in one of my networking groups, and he moved into a house in Buffalo Grove, and a week later they were doing laundry, and the house went up, and it was a dryer fire, and he was renting it. It wasn't his house, but at that point he's displaced. He had to go to an extended stay. This is right after COVID, and I'm a little bit of a prepper, so I had plenty of food, mostly dried food, and I was like, you know something, I don't want this to go bad. So I gathered up all the peanut butter that I bought and the crackers, and we fed his family for like a week. We gave him all the extra stuff that we had. We were going to donate it to a food pantry, but this was someone who I knew, and just completely unexpected. The other point I'd just like to make is, just because somebody is overweight does not mean they're not hungry. And, they're hungry all the time, ha ha ha. You know, people joke, but the reality is, when someone's overweight, there could be a deficiency in their body and they're not getting the appropriate nutrition that they need to get. I mean, you can eat pasta all day long and that's tons of calories and you might gain weight from it, but there's not really nutrition behind it, which is why this is such an important organization and activity. Can you I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, Carrie. Is there anything you'd like to add as well?
No, just that, piggybacking on what Julie said, and pretty much what we talked early on about the face of hunger looks different. You mentioned about a person who may be obese, but also I've had the experience of going to some of the food pantries that we serve, and there was someone who was driving a Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
And she was there, and she was embarrassed, but she went in there because she needed food. Don't know what her situation was. So the faces of hunger looks different.
Right.
Let's not just assume that your neighbors, your friends, family members, everybody is okay.
Totally agree.
Let's go a little bit deeper.
Totally agree. So, in closing, can you share your contact information, website, social media, how people can get a hold of you to become involved as a donor, a volunteer, or if a food pantry would like to connect with you, or if people want to go to the luncheon? If you can give your contact information, that would be fantastic for our listeners.
We love people to get involved. You can visit us at our website at hungerresourcenetwork.org to learn more about donating, volunteering, or connecting a food pantry to our service. Because sometimes you may know a food pantry that may need protein. So on our website, you can put their information in. We can give them a call and be happy to help them. You can also follow us on our social media, Facebook, for updates on events and ways to help. If you'd like to reach out to me directly, you can contact me at 847-272-1700 or my email address, which is carryt@hungerresource.org.
Can you spell that for people?
Sure. KERRYT at hunger, HUNGERRESOURCE.org. So whether you're a donor, volunteer, food pantry in need, we'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic.
And just to add that we are also on Instagram and LinkedIn.
I'd like to really thank you both for helping me spread the word for people that might need a little bit of assistance, or for people who are a little bit better off who'd like to assist other people who are in need of assistance. This was a fantastic interview. Thank you very much for being on the show with me.
Thank you so much, Marcus.
Thank you, Marcus. We appreciate it, helping us spread the word about hunger and security.
We have monthly concealed carry license CCL classes in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Dates can be seen at firearmmentor.com/classes. If you have a question, we can be reached at www.firearmmentorcard.com. That is our electronic business card, has all of our contact information and links in it. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you at the shooting range. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor signing off. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.